Mr. Speaker, I rise not to necessarily persuade anyone, but to at least to explain my vote on this bill. There are many good provisions in this bill, and I want to commend the administration for bringing it forward, the sponsors of the bill, the sponsor of the amendment, who did a very articulate job of explaining it. I think there are some good substantive provisions in this piece of legislation. The part of the legislation I'm troubled about, though, is the part where we are creating new positions in state government. A new administrator, a new ombudsman, a new mediator, 20 new positions on the Court of Workers' Compensation Claims, 1 new chief judge position, 1 clerk of the court position, and 3 new appeals boards position, when we already have court clerks spread all across the state that see to the filing of these claims, when we already have judges spread across the state who have been adjudicating these claims since the workers' compensation law came into effect. So my problem is that we have the processes in place in the status quo, that if we were making only the substantive changes, or many of the substantive changes, I could support those substantive changes. But to create all of these new positions, I cannot support. I'm also troubled by the manner of the appointment of the 21 members of the workers' compensation judges. Those will be appointed by the administrator, not by the governor, but by the administrator. Finally, my final concern is in the provisions relating to permanent partial disability under this statutory scheme. And after listening to a number of folks talk about that provision, the difference in compensation between an injured employee who returns to work and does not return to work under the new scheme is not that great. And I am concerned about that there is not an incentive to get employees back to work, which I think is a very important incentive under the status quo. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to put on the record the reasons for my vote on this particular piece of legislation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.